Hey guys, this is the SquareTable. Welcome to SquareTable, because we apparently can't fit in round holes.
No, we can't.
No, we can't. We're too off for that.
You try, but it's like after 5 hours, think this isn't gonna work.
We're too edgy for that, honestly.
Far too edgy.
So SquareTable is our newest podcast. We're gonna be talking about gaming things and related news and whatnot. And I am AssassinGlasgow. And here with me, my co-host, is Zach from the Two Patricks podcast channel. And
Hello.
he's also editor for the channel sometimes. So, Zach, I know a few viewers, if they've seen our co-op video, I think our one co-op video, actually, of Killing Floor 2, you're there.
Right.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself. For viewers who aren't familiar.
Pretty much what I kind of do, just as a normal thing, it's just more that what I focus on a lot is I try to find reasons why something might be fun. Like whenever I play something now, I focus a lot on trying to the whole thing's not just me sitting there going, am I enjoying myself, but I try to find out why I'm enjoying that thing or why I'm enjoying this movie. And it's actually ruined a lot of things for me.
Yeah, that tends to happen too. If you over scrutinize things, that does tend to happen.
Yeah, because I was watching yesterday I was watching Judge Dredd.
Wait, the first one?
The first one. The first one with Stallone and Rob Schneider and the rest.
Oh, Rob Schneider. Yeah, he made the movie.
Yes,
obviously.
Rob Schneider. Yeah,
he's the brand A-lister.
The first 7 minutes of that movie is all Rob Schneider. It's all Rob Schneider's story as he traverses the land of Judge Dredd.
I'm gonna be honest. I only watched the remake. The remake was fine. I'm too like.
The remake's probably better.
Not scared, but it's like revolted to watch the first one because of Rob Schneider.
Pretty much I remember enjoying Judge Dredd a long time ago. I remember enjoying it.
Were you 8?
As a small child. I was...
Yes, as a small child.
Probably like 10.
Close enough.
I think I was probably about 10. And, you don't think of things like, character development or anything like that when you're 10. You don't think about, like, plot when you're 10. You think, oh, cool, it's... I don't think Sylvester Stallone was cool when I was 10. That was probably, like... I think now that would have been like 2003, 2004.
I don't know.
I don't think he was cool anymore.
No, I think his heyday was like the 80s. Maybe early 90s.
It was like the 80s and 90s.
And after that,
and
he didn't really do much.
Because Judge Dredd is 96.
Oh shit, it was 96.
Anyway, the thing...
I thought it was...
Yes, that...
Early 90s.
I had to sit there and watch every minute of this movie to make sure I could talk about it later.
I feel sorry for
pretty
you.
much, it's okay. But like it was like one of those things where like you are sitting there watching this movie and go, "Oh, this movie's awful. Oh, it sucks." And it's not that terrible, but it's one of those things where it's like things get ruined for you when you go back to things in your childhood or you go back to things that you used to enjoy, and it's like, "Oh, I played this other thing that was really cool. Now this doesn't seem to really match up."
I don't know.
But you enjoyed it at the time.
I don't know. I enjoyed the second Batman movie from Tim Burton, and I still enjoy it now. So
I mean, I enjoy both the Tim Burton Batmans. I can't remember who the director was after him. The campier, like the return to Adam West form.
Schumacher. I think he directed Forever and Batman and Robin, and he was never allowed to touch Batman again.
Don't come near me or my sidekick ever again.
Exactly. All right. So, you talk a lot about movies on your channel, and your most recent one, I believe, was Alien Covenant, right? So you're also talking about recent releases.
That's the last one we did, like we recorded. I had to release Alien 1 and Prometheus I had to release them after the fact because something came up with recording. So it's like, oh well, I have like 3 videos now ready for like the 3 weeks that I'm not going to be able to record. So it just became that I would just have those ready. So Alien Covenant was probably the last one that I was really proud of.
It's also the most
not saying
recent
that
one.
the other 2 are bad.
It's okay.
It's the most recent one in terms of when I recorded it.
It's okay. Start like,
and, like that's
when
like
I first
40
started. My videos are awful. You guys can see this. It's literally on the channel. My first video was Life is Strange, and oh man, oh that was bad.
I know. I watched it.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I was there.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry for your ears. Times 2. All right. Well,
times two for both ears.
For both ears, exactly. You know, gotta get that symmetry going. So.
But like, go ahead.
We're recording on June 1st, so I don't know when this podcast is gonna go out, but hopefully before E3. But
hopefully.
So
when is E3?
Apparently this Saturday, at I think Saturday, sometime around night. I don't remember the first panels, but we're gonna discuss that later on in the podcast. What we're looking forward to, what we speculate, E3 bingo, and all that. Let's start with this article from May 30th, 2017. And the title of the article is Rime Fights Pirates and Upsets Fans. So, about a week ago, I believe.
It's probably about a week ago.
Yes. Oh, not even a week ago. 2 days ago. About roughly 2 days ago. Oh, no, actually, it is a week ago. The developer of Rime basically released a statement saying, we have anti-piracy software, de novo. If you guys don't know about the name of that, we have de novo on our title, and basically issued a challenge saying, when the game is cracked, and I'm quoting from their actual game designer statement, when a game is we are very committed to this, but also to the simple fact that nothing's infallible. That being said, if Rime is cracked, we will release a de novo free version of Rime and update existing platforms. So basically, they issued a challenge to people saying, yeah, if you crack this, we'll take out the software, anti-piracy software. And guess what happened? Today,
took 5 days.
It got cracked. So not even a week. It was roughly 5 days. And that's shorter than other games that got cracked, such as Mass Effect Andromeda and Prey, which roughly took 10 days. So I think it's interesting, this whole idea of piracy in video games. It's a big issue. It's, I don't know, would you say it's as big as piracy in, say, movies and music? I feel like music is... the music industry just hates it. Like, they really crack down on it.
I think the thing with piracy, ultimately, is that it's always going to be an issue, and I think probably the industry that has the most trouble with it may depend on how much, like, what your volume is versus, like, what you get per each unit of it. So I probably feel like music's probably the most pirated. I would kind of feel that way.
And then movies?
I would probably feel movies and TV shows are after that. And then I would put games after that. I'd probably put games at 3. And I think the reason is that I feel like it's not that it's harder, it's just that it's more to go through. Like, there's just more to go through to get that crack of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in terms of like not like data size, but just that it's something that perhaps game developers, you know, have to kind of fight with more so than like like game developers are more aware of it perhaps than TV show producers and production companies for movies, and like definitely the music industry is aware of it, but like they don't have like the things like the game industry does, where there's whole technologies, like whole companies entirely devoted to this is anti-tamper, anti-whatever for the product. because you're also dealing with like you don't have to worry about someone cheating about something with the movie. Like you're not worried about someone like putting in a fake ending to your movie. Like I remember there was a crack going around for a long time when I'm not not going around for a long time, but it was around when the Toy Story 3 movie came out, and the cracked version of that, the one that was going around on Pirate Bay. It was basically like, you know that scene in the movie where they're all about to go into the incinerator?
Yes, I know exactly what movie you're talking about.
Toy Story 3?
Is it Toy Story 3? Because
yes.
you didn't. I don't think I heard the movie title, but.
Oh, sorry. But towards the end of that movie, there's that scene where they're all gonna go into like the incinerator, but they don't actually go into the incinerator at the end. They save themselves. That's where the Pirate Bay version ends. It fades to black and goes to the credits with no music.
That's fucking depressing.
That's
one way to do it.
It's sort of fucking awesome.
I think I remember a game doing something similar where if you pirated it, then it gave you a completely different game. I don't remember which game it was, but if you pirated it, it basically the character I think dies, or it plays somewhat differently, and the game just ends. And I think that's a really creative way to fight piracy.
Yeah, and it's just I don't really see the music industry or the game or the movie industry or the TV industry really dealing with piracy the same way that the gaming industry does. That they kind of handle it in a different way.
I think it has to do with the limitations of the medium, but obviously that doesn't completely excuse it. Like the Toy Story one is a creative way to approach the piracy issue. Just give it a different ending. I know John Wick, was it Lionsgate? Lionsgate has...
Yeah.
They do...
I think so.
I don't know if it's for all their movies, but I know for John Wick, because I may have seen a copy of it. They scrambled it.
Oh, did you?
Yes, a copy that I totally...
Yes. A totally legitimate copy.
Legit copy. Yes, I totally saw a legit copy of John Wick.
Because you would never do anything that would be characterized as unfair.
No, I didn't download a car. I'm okay.
You would never.
I would never download a car. How dare you insinuate that?
Never.
But I know Lionsgate, they scrambled John Wick, and like the scenes go out of order. So I think that's one way to do it. But from what I've seen, at least in the music industry, and then to a lesser extent in the TV and film industry, is just brute force takedowns. And I think that leads to a problem on YouTube, in that a lot of people get caught in this crossfire, and it leads to a lot of problems, like for YouTube content creators.
Yeah, like I don't upload anything to the channel with any scenes, because like that's what I kind of want to avoid. Like I had an issue recently where I had to re-upload a video because some third party, basically a third party copyright seeking device, like not a device, like a software, basically said you can't use this because you have 30 seconds of someone else's work, and it's like, but you couldn't even place it. It's like, no, you have to replace it.
Wait, you can't use it, like it blocked it worldwide?
No, but like I normally put Creative Commons on my things,
okay,
and it's like, and that's how I found out. It's like, oh, we need you to put this up for ads, and I'll put ads on any of my videos.
Yeah, so running this channel, running my Let's Play channel, I've had that happen to me a lot, and some people may know about this because I did post on Twitter about this a while ago, I think several months back, that some of my songs on my Silvio Let's Play videos were copyright claims. And the thing is, the song I used came from AudioBlocks. So AudioBlocks is kind of like a stock music site. You can get stock tracks, and it's royalty free.
Royalty free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that means I could use it and monetize it if I wish. I don't monetize my videos. I thought about it, but I don't monetize my videos at the moment. So it bothered me a lot that I was getting claimed on a basically royalty-free song that I paid for, and somebody else was putting their own ads and claiming that money. So I paid for a song that was royalty-free, and they're taking money that technically should go to me if I had monetized my video.
If you want.
Yeah, so it's really, it's bothersome. And I fought that, and it took months. So
I think with go ahead.
Yeah, so it is a problem, and taking this back to video games, I can see how and why developers and publishers want to put anti-piracy software into their games, because it's like lost sales. There are people, like, for example, David. David will... I'm not trying to say anything bad about David.
No, you're not throwing him under the bus.
No, obviously not. But
that would never
David,
happen.
our mutual friend David, who also has appeared in some videos. David has he does pirate some games, not all, just like some of the big ones that maybe he's not too sure about, and he pirates it to play it, trying to see how it is before he thinks about buying it. I'm trying to remember which game it was. There were a few big budget games that he pirated before he played it, but he did eventually end up buying it because he liked how it was. I believe one of them was Wolfenstein. I think he told me that he pirated Wolfenstein: The New Order, and then eventually paid for a copy. So some people do that, and that's how they explain the piracy. But I guess, should companies continue putting anti-piracy software? Should they accept it?
I've always been a fan of just breaking the game if it's pirated. Like Serious Sam, I think it was the third one. If you pirate Serious Sam 3, a giant pink scorpion follows you around, and you can't kill it. It's invincible. There's nothing you can do to stop it. It'll just keep coming after you and keep coming after you. If you get rid of it with any sort of, like, you know, if you try to mess with like any of the program with the game, it'll just come back. And it'll come back, and it'll come back, and it'll come
That's
back,
pretty amazing.
It ruins the game for you. I prefer that sort of thing. I don't like what happens with, like, things like Denuvo or things along those lines with piracy, where we're just going to make the game harder to play. That I have a couple of games from companies like Ubisoft and
Ubisoft.
Calypso Media, where it'll basically be
Ubisoft.
Oh, cool! You're playing. Were you gonna say something?
Ubisoft. I remember in the early 2010s, they really cracked down on anti-piracy, and that just made a lot of their games on PC unplayable. Assassin's Creed unplayable. Unless you had a constant internet connection. That was horrible.
Right. I think the last time I had something like that with Ubisoft was basically, oh, you're playing this 10-year-old game or 6-year-old game or whatever, right? It's like, yeah. Did you like this game? Yeah. Do you remember the password and email you made explicitly for this? And it's like, no, it's on my Steam.
Yeah,
so that... can I play my game? And it's like, no, fuck you. And it's like, okay then, cool. Fucking cool.
Yeah, that's pretty irritating.
And the thing is with that is that just makes it harder to play these games, and you don't want to take it out on the game, but you want to take it out on the company. And then it makes it harder for you to legitimize buying those things, because then you think, well, then I don't want that to happen again. Like SimCity, when they tried to reboot it, EA made it so you had to always have an online connection, and that a lot of things that they had promised were just not there at all, because it had to go through so many levels of just not breaking the game, but like it was twisting your arm to such an extent that it was impossible to keep that going.
Yeah,
to keep constant gameplay.
I also personally like, I guess you can say, non-intrusive piracy software, or like anti-piracy methods. It's I personally think it's just more creative to do that rather than make a software that not only stops pirates but also hurts the consumer base that did pay for this game. Apparently, for Rhyme specifically, the statement from the person that cracked it, this person said that the de novo anti-tamper tech was hurting the game. It was leading to a lot of slowdowns and frame rate issues, and that it was entirely unnecessary. It hurt the game at launch by adding this anti-piracy software. And I understand why Tequila Works, I believe that's the publisher, why they wanted anti-piracy software. I believe Rhyme is sort of an indie title, not a really like big AAA blockbuster.
It's not like anything AAA or anything. It's a very much an indie thing.
I understand why it's a problem for indie developers, why piracy is such a problem. But if the anti-de novo software is really slowing down this game and hurting it, apparently it called 300,000 triggers at the startup. Mm-hmm. That's why loading times are so long.
Right, because you have to call upon the anti-cheat or you call upon de novo every time. That's like, hey, is it still here? Is it still here? Is it still here?
Yeah.
And when you do that, you're taking up the power. You're taking up all the space with the software. You're loading down the game with these calls to something like that. That becomes the issue.
Yeah, and it was hurting the game and hurting the consumers that actually paid for the game. They were getting saddled with this anti-piracy software that was, I guess you can say, handicapping the game from the start. There's and from the crackers statement, this person said that in games like Nier Automata and Prey, which are two games that recently came out, they only call 1 or 2 triggers every several minutes, which is fine. It's just 1 or 2, like, hey, this is a legit copy, don't worry. But Rhyme had 300,000 triggers? No, it led up to 2 million triggers.
Oh, throughout the entirety of it.
Yeah, 10 to 30 triggers, and I'm quoting from the statement, 10 to 30 triggers every second during actual gameplay. I feel like just putting out 1 trigger every minute or so is good enough. Like, that's overkill if you're doing 10 to 30 triggers every second.
That's like someone telling you to build a Lego set, and every time you put down a new block, they check and see if you put down the right block at the right time.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I am totally putting down the block at the right time. Don't worry about me. But then every millisecond you're scrutinized. It's horrible. That does end up hurting your consumer base. So I think that's why they shouldn't. I've learned from this. Never issue a challenge on the internet, because apparently somebody's gonna accept you on it, and they're gonna.
Oh no! It's like putting out polls. It's like I think I can't remember what British agency of the government it was. It was basically for science. It's like, hey, we have a new research vessel.
Oh yeah.
What should we call it? And everyone's like, call it Bodie McBoatface, and everyone put it in. And like, well, we're not gonna call it that. Or like, I think it was Dorito or Lay's. They like, what's our new chip flavor? And they'd be like, Hitler did nothing wrong. And don't put things out there, because they're not marketers. They're doing, it's a range between I hate you and I want to do this for a laugh. That's why they're putting in the answer.
And that's the internet, everybody. You characterize the internet in a sentence.
It's I hate you or I want to laugh.
Yeah, Schadenfreude is a strong thing on the internet.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, Bodie McBoatface is a pretty amazing name.
The internet's a beautiful place, but it's filled with that. There's no escape.
No escape. So, speaking of putting things out there and just having like government oversight and things like that, Uzbekistan banned video games over distorting values.
The thing I thought was weird about this story was that it's a very specific list of 34 video games.
Yes, it was.
And like some of them I could understand. I could understand, like, Postal 2 is on here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But none of the other Postal games are on there. It's just Postal 2.
Yeah, I also thought that was strange. So Uzbekistan, for you guys don't know, it's a Central Asian country. It banned video games basically on kind of the same platform that a lot of other people who want to ban video games or limit them, like what they say, violence, porn, from their
decaying our moral values or some
security
crap like that.
and social political stability is what they said, quote unquote. They're also concerned it might disturb civil peace and inter-ethnic and inter-religious harmony. So some of the games they have on this list that we will have in the description below is, as you said, Postal 2, which is totally understandable. But
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is also on here, but that's also the only Grand Theft Auto game.
yes,
here.
so the thing we noticed with this list is that they have a lot of games they've taken from series right in the middle, like they just plucked it right in the middle. For example, Mortal Kombat 10. Who cares about the first 9 Mortal Kombats? The 10th one is the one that bothers us the most.
You can play Mafia 1. You can play Mafia 3. But God help you if you play Mafia 2.
Yeah, and
That's
who cares about
part of it. That doesn't
all the other Call of Duties? Black Ops is the one that we don't like.
Yeah, fuck
Man,
that
I
one.
feel bad for Treyarch. They're the ones getting picked on compared to Infinity Ward, and I guess...
Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days. I understand that ban because that's possibly the worst game ever made.
Yes,
I can respect that
you did.
ban.
I remember when you were running your game review blog that you mentioned, I think, Kane and Lynch 2. You wrote an article on that. And
I did.
Kane and Lynch 2 is it's pretty bad.
I may play it one day
So I also noticed...
and put it up on my channel because it's fun.
I also noticed Left 4 Dead. They had the first 2, and then the third one. They must have amazing
Uzbekistan knows
foresight.
something. They know something that we don't know. That's the directed line that Valve has. There is a single connection between Valve in Seattle and the government capital in Uzbekistan.
Okay, I actually have to correct you. Valve is actually in Bellevue, not Seattle. But it's close enough.
Oh,
it's
well,
close enough.
It's close. It's somewhat
I think it's like an hour drive or something like that. I don't know. I wanted
Something
to go to Washington, and I thought about stopping in at Valve, but it's things got too complicated, so I couldn't go. But they do give free tours if you email them in advance. I heard about that.
Oh, that's cool. Silent Hill 1. All the other
Yeah,
ones are fine.
All the other ones are fine. And Until Dawn, I never realized that game existed.
That's the best. That one's actually kind of... I want to ban that one in particular. I don't know what Until Dawn's about. I'm assuming something about goose feathers.
Exactly.
I'm assuming.
It's got it. Well, I mean, down. You can't have that down there. It's gonna promote horrible things for our kids.
Violence.
So I thought that was interesting. Obviously, Uzbekistan is following a more hardline approach with banning these video games. I don't understand I understand the criteria. I don't understand why they're choosing very specific games to ban, especially from series. For example, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Fallout New Vegas, those and all the other games that are in a series, you can't just choose one.
The Sims 3.
Oh yeah, and The Sims 3. You can't just choose one. You got to choose all of them because they all share similar elements of gameplay and story. Like, why is the first Mass Effect banned, but then Mass Effect Andromeda isn't? Mass Effect Andromeda apparently has actual nudity.
No, you see, the alien sex in Mass Effect 1, that's too far. The alien sex in all the other ones is fine.
To be fair, Fox
That's
the
issue.
did talk about Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 1 or 2, I think it was 2, being too risque for their sex scenes. That was an actual story.
Yes, I can see Fox doing that story.
So, I think this brings an interesting question when countries decide, yeah, we're going to have a list and we're going to ban games from this list. Should they regulate games like this?
I think that the games industry regulates itself in a way. Not the
In a
best
way?
way,
Okay.
but they do it. Because like the ESRB is the American version of the self rating system, and they're like it's definitely like it'll definitely say like, oh, you shouldn't play like this game should only be for like mature audiences, 17 and up. But it's not like we listen to it.
Yeah, that's the thing that about the ESRB that I think is kind of like it's.
I think PEGI's slightly more accurate.
I think the ESRB it's good to have a rating system, a lot like the movie rating system, but if somebody wants a game, it's not going to necessarily stop them. But then I also think it comes down to parenting
Personal choice.
and and personal choice. It's good to have. I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's good to have like a little like regulatory body kind of overseeing things, but in the end, you can't control everybody's actions aside from outright banning. And then when you outright ban, that calls a lot of questions. Like for example, this list, the criteria, like there are some games where it's like, why are you banning this? It's kind of silly. And then why this compared to other games? Like for example, I can see a ban on Hatred. I mean, that game is kind of...
Hatred's not a very good game to begin with.
One, it's not a very good game to begin with. But two, it's like, I can see how that is problematic. But then when you see games like... I don't know. Fallout, Dead Rising. Like, Dead Rising is just... It's just zombies. And it's super silly. Manhunt, I can see banned.
No.
Like...
But it's like, you'll have something like Dead Rising banned, but something like Dead Island is not banned. Like, that's fine. And these aren't even like the most popular, these aren't even the most famous games. These are just, it's like, they have Manhunt on here. And like, you would have to dig pretty hard to find Manhunt mentioned anywhere.
Well, Manhunt, I know, comes up a lot when it comes to like games that cause a lot of controversy, and I think were banned for a short period. I think Manhunt was banned for a short period of time.
I think Manhunt was originally banned. I think it was originally banned.
I think,
or
yeah.
it was that, or it was rated adult, which is basically a death sentence to a video
I don't
game.
believe it was rated adult. I think there was only one game aside from actual porn games that were rated adult, and that was GTA for a little while because of the hot coffee mod.
Yeah.
But Manhunt, I believe, was it caused a lot of controversy. I believe it was heavily censored at one point. But yeah, that like Manhunt, that's understandable. Hatred, that's understandable. Mass Effect, not really. And I guess that that leads into should a lot of this has to do with like, oh, we gotta protect the kids, all that stuff. Should governments be regulating that?
Well, because then you're getting into that whole thing of like the time period where the U.S. government was regulating comic books and movies.
Yes.
Where you had God, what was it called? I think for comic books it was like it was something very like 1984 sounding. It was one of those titles to a government, but like it was basically saying like this magazine is all right for the kiddies, so there's no problem.
The Office of Comic
Like,
Book Review. I'm gonna call it that. OCR.
Something like that. Yeah, so it was something like that. And it'd be something that basically says, like, this is okay because it doesn't have any of this. So, like, you couldn't have any stories about drugs. You couldn't have stories about, graphic violence. Like, Watchmen wouldn't be allowed to exist at the time period. That's basically what it was. Like, we think Watchmen may come out sometime in the future and we don't want it to happen.
Pretty much.
And then comic books start regulating themselves, and movies start regulating themselves, and video games regulated themselves very quickly. And I think what it boils down to is that if all these industries should regulate themselves to an extent, but then the ultimate question of whether someone should buy it or not that responsibility should be put on the consumer. Because if an adult buys Halo for their children, don't blame Microsoft, Bungie, 343 Industries, whoever's involved.
Whoever's working on Halo right now.
Yeah. Whoever's working on Halo at the moment. But it's like, that's sort of the thing that we're looking at. It's just, you shouldn't be going after people for actions on the consumer, and then the consumer goes, why would you allow me to buy this? It's like, you bought it.
Yeah, it's putting a lot of, like, the consumer... I feel like sometimes the consumer puts a lot of blame on the regulatory agencies, but the agencies clearly have on the box the rating system. A lot like how movies have on their previews, their everything else, a rating system. I think sometimes the consumers unfairly blame the publishers and developers, and to an extent the ESRB, for basically saying, oh, why would you let me buy this? But then I've seen a lot of parents that will buy games and not have any idea about what is in the game. Like there was no research involved. The kid wanted the game, and they got them a game. For example, at my workplace, I remember I was talking to a coworker. She doesn't know anything about video games, and for her, I believe it was her cousin's bar mitzvah. There's no, that wasn't bar mitzvah. I think the kid was even younger than that. There some kind of party to celebrate the kid turning some milestone.
He wasn't a man yet.
Well, yeah,
Basically.
yeah. Some kind of party to celebrate the kid.
Some part of coming of age.
Well, the thing is, the
of
kid
some
didn't
sort.
come of age, like to become a man, quote unquote. But the kid was like 8, and the kid wanted Battlefield 1. So I haven't played Battlefield 1 yet, but I've seen footage of it, and that's not really. I mean, when it comes to like gore and stuff like that, it's not really a game you want to let an 8-year-old play specifically. And so, but she bought.
I mean, there's literally mustard gas in the game, so maybe avoid it.
Yeah, maybe avoid it.
Small children looking at
Your
it.
child might not want to face the horrors of World War One trench warfare.
No.
But yeah.
A game about it's a game about World War One, but I have almost never seen a trench in the game.
Yeah,
I'll see,
that is a
trench
criticism
in the middle.
That's to be fair, Verdun is like the ultimate World War One game, so.
And then but like in Battlefield 1 you also have like it's like, oh, it's World War 1, it's 1914 and everyone has assault rifles. Or the closest thing they'll get to it.
That too. It's a pretty game though.
If there were dragons in the game, I would accept it. I'd let it go. Like that's fine.
Oh,
I'm cool with
don't
it.
give Uwe Boll any ideas. He might just come back from
I think there's a movie. There is a movie like that, where it's not World
there are
War
plenty
I.
of movies. It's all on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like the Boeing,
It's
like the
always on
the
Netflix.
Boeing plane that went back to the past to World War II. That was an actual thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So this kid wanted Battlefield 1, and my coworker bought it, and had no idea what it was, and bought it for him. And when I was telling her about it, she was like, she kind of casually shrugged me off, but and then mentioned that his dad also played video games. I think maybe the dad wanted it and used the son by extension to get it.
That's a pretty clever way of doing it.
I can see that happening, but it does lead back to this whole like the consumers who may not be video gamers buying games for younger players when the games aren't really suitable for them. And I mean, it happened to my coworker. It happened to me. I know for sure. Like, I mean, I was a little bit older, of course. Like, I was 14, and I wanted Halo and stuff like that. Halo 3 at least specifically. It was rated M. I don't believe the Halo games should have, at least Halo 3 should have been rated M because there's not really anything bad happening in it. But
That's sort of why I put more stock in the PEGI rating system. It's because like Halo and Nier Automata are on the same rating level that or Halo and I only say Nier Automata because it's on my desk and it's staring at me right now. But like that game, like Halo and like Postal are on the same rating level. Like,
but clearly Postal was the worst of the two.
Clearly, one of these games does something that is more worthy of being called mature.
Yes, exactly. So, and that's the thing. My mom has no idea about video games. I just asked her, "Hey, can I have this game?" And she was like, "Okay." She just bought me the game. Didn't look into it. Didn't even read the back. Just bought me the game. Of course.
And then you became a murderer.
And then I became a murderer. Yes, I'm admitting it to you guys. All on stream, not on stream, on podcast. Oh no, you caught me. You caught me.
I brought down the criminal that the police force couldn't.
I hope nobody looks
I
at
am
my
the Sherlock of my time.
my subscribed podcast list, and one of them is literally called My Favorite Murder. It's still.
It's too late.
Oh,
now.
it's too late now. Oh shit! I can't exonerate myself.
No.
But, yeah, I do think that, in my opinion, that consumers should pay a little bit more attention to the things that they buy for their kids, in the same way that they pay attention to the movie ratings. And I think that's the thing. The movie ratings get rated like they weigh it so much more heavily than video game ratings. The ESRB exists for a reason. I mean, Mortal Kombat and Night Trap were brought to Congress for a reason. It exists, so I think consumers should use that to the fullest extent. And I don't personally believe that governments should really regulate as hard as Uzbekistan did for their populace. And plus, a lot of these games are probably going to get pirated anyways. I think in the article it even mentions that a lot of these games come into the country through Russian DVDs. So you're not going to stop the black market for these games, and it's hard. It's not easy to regulate, especially when you have a specific list like this. Reminds me of the list that I think China puts out for manga sometimes, manga and anime, banning it from sale in the country. It's like, yeah, you can do that, but then there are these 10 million scanlation sites that will scan it and translate it into Chinese. So,
right.
Good luck. I do find it interesting that they have so. Before we move on, I just want to note some of the games that they have on there. One, Naughty Bear. So I remember Naughty Bear coming out. Like,
I remember that game. I think Game Grumps played it once.
Yeah.
That's an interesting game. It's just an interesting concept of like this, like someone on the team was a serial killer. Someone on the team, because they put a lot of effort into go find your other Huggy Time Bear friends and kill them.
Oh dear. It's just interesting that they're pulling a game that isn't well remembered.
It's such a small scale. It's such a small scale release, and
yes,
you like there are people who know about it, but no one knows. But I don't know if people know about it very well.
Yes, like I remember it because I remember seeing footage and I saw it in store at the time of release. But
like, I have no idea what Carmageddon is. Like there are games on here that I've never heard of.
Well, some of these games are like phone games. Like, well, I think they're phone games. They might not be phone games. They might be actual, like disc games. Like Lulu 3D Sex Villa. I think those are actual like adult only games.
3D Sex Villa 2 is probably
what happened to 1?
My favorite entry. This is probably my favorite entry on the list.
I don't know. I like Bone Town. Welcome to the Bone Zone.
Everyone knows what 3D Sex Villa 2 is supposed to be. Everyone knows.
Yeah,
walking into the door.
Man, I wish more games.
In, like going. I thought this was Cooking Mama.
I wish.
No one's doing that.
I wish more games were more blunt with their titles like this. So yeah, it's just I feel like this list is a little far-reaching sometimes and kind of strange. It's kind of weird.
I think it's sort of hilarious.
It is a pretty hilarious list in retrospect, but so we'll see how Uzbekistanians how they react to this. I'm gonna assume there's gonna be higher levels of Russian piracy happening. Moving on to our next topic of discussion, it's going to be microtransactions. So we have 2 articles on that. One is
the sprinkles of game industry.
The sprinkles of game industry, yes.
The shit flavored sprinkles of the game industry.
It's a prickly subject, to put it mildly. We have one article from to put it bluntly. We have one article from The Verge titled "Overwatch's loot box system is Blizzard's true masterpiece." Now, that's probably a clickbaity title, of course.
I kind of understand where they're going with it.
Yes, I understand too. Our second article is talking about microtransactions. Like Take-Two is talking about microtransactions, and we can do more. So, microtransactions are this weird beast that we talk about and then we don't talk about it as much. It's kind of weird in that a lot of games utilize it nowadays. And I remember back a few years ago, everybody's like, oh no, microtransactions. But now a lot of games really do follow that pathway, even games that we have to pay for already, like Overwatch. Overwatch, you drop $40 and there's still microtransactions in the game. So it's not in the realm of free to play anymore, because microtransactions used to be free to play games, and that's how they earn their revenue, and that makes sense. That is a way to earn money to keep your game going and keep development going. But now it's appearing in pay to play
The games you've already paid like $40, $60 for.
Yes.
Because the first game I realized that for a AAA release was probably Dead Space 3. Dead Space 3's microtransaction being that you play the game and you could make your own weapons, but you had to have like this like scrap resource.
You have to buy
and you
scrap?
could pay to have this. You had to buy scrap. Like you don't have to like you can find it in the game, but if you want more, you had to buy it with a microtransaction. And that struck me as odd because I couldn't see a reason why someone would pay for that, especially after like this was like the third entry into a series that had taken its fair share of bludgeoning from the critics. So I couldn't.
Yes,
so I guess I couldn't personally see how that was working as a concept.
Dead Space 3, as with a lot of games on launch, was $60, right?
I think it was, yeah.
I think it was $60. I don't remember if it got released at a discounted price or anything like that.
But go ahead.
It's $20 now on the Origin client. I remember because I bought this for a future Let's Play, but I believe it dropped at $60. And so that's $60 on top of, if you wanted to customize a specific weapon, getting scrap and paying money for scrap, which can become problematic. It's a little bit in the same vein as season passes, I guess, like the trend of season passes, because I know season passes used to not be a big thing, and now it's everywhere. Like every game has a season pass in one way or another.
I think I've noticed season passes a lot.
Yes.
I think I've noticed season passes. There was a point where they were with every game, and now they've sort of ratcheted down a bit. They're still there, but like what I see connected with season passes the most is with things from Ubisoft in particular. Like that company more than any other company I notice them with.
I mean,
other companies do it, of course, but I noticed that a lot with Ubisoft.
Yeah, well, Ubisoft. But I mean, they're not the only publisher / developer that has done this. EA does it a lot. I think Activision does it a lot too. But
like the big ones do it a lot.
Would you say the big three? Ubisoft, Activision, EA? Big three.
That's how I've always thought of it.
Developers?
I would probably call them the big three, and then you have the AAA developers below them, but like they're still relevant. Like they're still very relevant. That you have things like Take-Two, and Sega, and Bethesda, and those sorts of companies.
Oh yeah.
And then below that you have. You go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Like, sorry, you have what? I didn't quite catch that.
Oh, but like you have like those companies, like you have those AAA companies that aren't the big three, but you have them there, and then you have those things that sort of verge somewhere in the middle between, kind of like they're not completely indie. Like they may be picked up. They've either been picked up in the past, they get picked up or they're gonna be picked up in the future, and they're sort of like developers that make enough money that they're on their own, but you wouldn't really consider them on the same level. Like Valve being a developer that doesn't really develop anymore, but still makes a shitload of money between Steam and Dota. I kind of consider on that level.
Valve is kind of a strange company. Valve is a strange, like the strange black sheep of the developer community, because they don't have any recent games out, but they're still very big due to the Steam platform, Dota, all these other things.
Dota would probably be their most recent game that I know of.
Yeah, but I mean, it's interesting. Like they're huge, but then they're also like not. If that makes any sense, yeah. Like I understand what you mean, but I know for sure Valve, they love to do microtransactions. CS:GO, TF2, Dota, they love microtransactions. The thing is, 2 out of those 3 games are free. I mean, Dota's free, right? I'm not like just pulling that out of my ass. Dota's free.
No, Dota is free. Yes, Dota is free.
Okay, so
that is a free game.
2 out of those 3 games are free, and microtransactions drive the economy and help drive development on those games. CSGO is a huge moneymaker, but you do have to pay for CSGO. I think it's $20. I don't quite remember the price.
It's something like that.
Something like that. It's like $20. So it's one of those pay-to-play games with microtransactions in it, and people still they still pay, and that's a lot like Overwatch in that people will still pay in order, even though they've already paid for the base game. And
right,
it is an interesting model, and
it's a very unique model within the industry because even though EA has Origin, it's never going to achieve the sort of presence that Steam does. Like, I can say that for certainty. It will never be as big as Steam is.
No, Steam's too ubiquitous for that. And the companies try, but I don't think they can take down Steam unless Steam basically takes down itself. It's like one of the...
it's not impossible. That could happen at some point.
I don't know how it could take down itself, but it would have to really fuck up. Like, massively fuck up in order to sabotage its chances of being the top dog in distributing platforms for video games.
Right. But going back to the point that spawned these points, that EA, I would consider EA, Origin, and Ubisoft to be the big 3. And in a sense, this is like a little bit of an aside, but I've always kind of thought as Ubisoft as that one company that everyone was really positive about, maybe in the early 2000s.
Yes.
Like this is like a Revenge of the Sith moment where Ubisoft's supposed to bring balance to the market, and that's not what happened. And then we cut off the thing sort of falls apart. The analogy falls apart when we had to connect it to the movie. But pretty much the thing is that with Ubisoft, it's a very different company than it was when Prince of Persia and Assassin's Creed were getting started.
Oh, absolutely. Because I used to have hope in this company.
This used to be like this. Was this like your favorite company?
It used to be.
Like,
it used
up
to be.
There?
Around the late 2000s and the early 2010 era.
Back around Assassin's Creed time.
Yeah, around Assassin's Creed, the first 2, 3. It was basically my favorite company. I was like, Ubisoft I'm so hyped. Like every E3, I would watch their conference.
You would never betray me, Ubisoft, right? You would never betray me, Ubisoft, right?
Never, Ubisoft. Never. Yeah, it's.
And then meanwhile, they're just pocketing your money, cackling maniacally.
I think. And this is truly an aside. I think Ubisoft is their rise to power basically fucked them over in the end because they started making a lot of really bad corporate decisions for the games, and it ended up screwing them. But that's another topic for if we ever get to it, talking about just developers.
Our 3-part expose on Ubisoft.
Oh God.
just Ubisoft. Where did it go wrong? But yeah, pretty much back.
I'm sorry if you can hear that. There's like a giant fucking plane flying over.
Oh, I can't hear
my
that.
apartment for some reason.
Wait, she's making a podcast. Fly over now. Send the Armada.
Send the Armada, all of them. So, it's interesting that games are starting to follow this pay-to-play model, and definitely since Overwatch has been super successful, a lot of games are following the pay-to-play model where they'll throw in loot boxes. And if you want that nice new Genji skin, you better go buy a loot box and hope you get it.
Either you just grind game after game hoping you get it, or you give over like $40 and then just open box after box hoping you get it.
It really, I think the brilliance and also maybe the insidious nature of microtransactions.
The villainy.
Yes, the thing with microtransactions that I think is brilliant is that it really plays on expectations of players, in that players don't like. A lot of players are working, and they don't have the time to basically grind for something they want, some skin, some cosmetic, whatever. They don't have time to do that, and there's no guarantee if they get a loot box that they're gonna get it. So buying loot boxes in bulk or crates or whatever you want to call it, buying those things in bulk guarantees that you might get something in the crates. And you know, I'm not saying that I'm like free of this. I'm guilty of this too. Like, I don't have time to play 20 million hours of Overwatch in order to get like a skin I want, so I just like put down money.
I actually have a story about this. I did buy like $25 worth of boxes.
Okay.
But it was during the February event.
Oh, the Rooster event.
Yeah. So there was this Diva skin that our mutual friend Justin really wanted, and he was going through every box, like hoping and pleading that it'd be in there. It wouldn't be. So there was probably about a week left of the event, and I thought, you know, it'd be really funny if I just got the skin, and I just kind of stood there in the game and waited for him to see that I had it. So I paid $25 worth of crates to open it, and I didn't get them in any of the boxes, but I made enough gold to buy the skin. So I think it was Watchpoint Gibraltar. That I kind of just sat in the middle of like the first area where you can the first checkpoint, and he saw it, and it was just this long moment of just, why would you do this? Why would you do this to me?
Why would you? You've done it now. Why?
Yeah, I did it then because I thought it still felt very good to do. Like I could empathize with Widowmaker with that one line she
with
does.
Widowmaker.
Like, that night I felt alive.
Oh God, you gotta say it in your best French accent though. You gotta say it in your best French accent.
Oh, it'd be really mean.
Yeah, I think I got that Diva skin on like the second loot box I opened or something like that.
I think literally everyone except him got that Diva skin. I think
Diva's his main hero, so it's extra salt to the wound.
No, I think he got this last day. He got the last day, but he wasn't even enjoying it anymore. He didn't even care anymore. It was just something he had. It's like, great, fucking great.
All hope is dashed. Cynicism replaces it. It's so going back to microtransactions and the insidious and also really smart way that microtransactions are used plays into frustrations, and I can definitely see it for seeing players who've already paid for, like some players who've already paid for a game be more willing to spend money on the game compared to say a free-to-play game where it gets more and more frustrating, especially if there's something that's really locked away with microtransactions. I don't know, microtransactions are tricky. I don't have a very strong formulated like yes or no on microtransactions. I think they're in some ways like, yeah, that's the only way to make money, especially if you're like a free to play game. But then there are other things that it's like you're locking away this really good game thing, like basically really like game content that probably should be free or should have already came with the base game, and you're locking it away.
I think with
microtransactions.
With microtransactions, I think I may be somewhere between all microtransactions suck and I can kind of see like, oh, you're paying for cosmetics. Because I can sort of see, like, if you have a game like Evolve, if you remember. Evolve had this absolutely disgusting business model for DLC that they even, like, the first thing that came out for Evolve was literally a thing about buy this DLC to get this skin or something like that. And that as they were hyping up the game, they were saying this game was built for DLC. And no one likes that statement. That statement will win over absolutely nobody.
Yeah, no. That statement will you're shooting yourself in the foot with that one.
Yeah, and I can sort of see the argument with like something along the lines of, if I can earn it in the game, then it's fine. If you can buy it, you can buy it now, or you can wait to get it. Then like I can be sort of fine with that. However, the way that Blizzard does the Overwatch boxes, or how it does the loot boxes that they have in Heroes of the Storm, or how they do the card packs in Hearthstone, that there's basically this random number generator on essentially what you get out of it, and you can basically pay $100 and still not get what you want. Now maybe it's your fault for spending $100, but you shouldn't have to spend $100 to get some skin, because then everything's blamed on the random number generator, then whether or not you get something.
Yeah, rather than say a developer basically withholding content from you. I think it's probably like, at the moment, microtransactions are so new, it's difficult to really predict where they're going to go. I think what the article has shown me about Overwatch's loot box system is that it definitely is balanced in how much it makes the players expect, and how much it frustrates the player, which is good, makes money. And definitely some of those skins are really nice looking skins, and they do release actual content that's updates that are free, which is good too, and you get gold coins that you can put into new skins, which is good. It has is it out of game currency? How would you describe money that's like where you pay actual money?
Like, okay, like wait, so you can like a in-game currency.
There's like the gold is the in-game currency. You don't really pay money for the in-game currency specifically.
You're not directly paying for the money. It's more of a byproduct than anything.
Yes.
In the game, like you either get gold, or you get a duplicate which gives you a set of gold.
Yes.
I guess I still consider that in-game currency, but maybe it's a bit more indirect.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer that I stare at this, this is another like minor aside, but the longer I stare at this image of Zarya, the more do I realize that she will never have a good skin ever.
This is one of her better skins. Okay, and this is speaking from somebody.
It's still not the best skin, because her best skin is in Heroes of the Storm.
Yes, it is, and that frustrates me as a person who loves to play Zarya. I play healers and tanks, and I love Zarya. It's frustrating. I don't know what it is. They like really, they give everybody else great skins. Tracer gets her like 20-second skin, and Zarya gets like nothing. And
Zarya gets like the worst skins. Like Industrial Zarya is by far the worst skin in the whole game.
It is the worst skin in the whole game.
That's like a mark of shame more than anything else.
Yes. Like, why would you think this is appropriate? Like, Industrial Zarya, like that kind of aesthetic works well for Tracer or something like that. And I think she does have one similar.
Tracer has like a punk one, like a cyberpunk one.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. I like that one. It works. But the Zarya Industrial, not even like there's two different ones. There's two different ones of the same style, but Industrial of that set is the worst skin in the entire.
Is that the blue one or the red one?
That's the red and black one.
Oh,
that
God.
one is fucking awful.
Let me be edgy. Let me be what's her name from My Immortal, the fan fiction.
I have no idea.
It's a really fucking long name. I forgot.
But like that skin, I want that skin to be in Heroes of the Storm, and not Heroes of the Storm. It's already in Heroes of the Storm. But I want that blue like Valhalla skin that she has in Heroes of the Storm to be in Overwatch.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I don't know how Blizzard is separating their team, but they clearly need to get the Zarya concept artist from Heroes of the Storm into the actual main Overwatch game.
Just borrow him.
Just
borrow him for like a day.
Yeah,
or
one day. I just need,
however long it takes.
I need that one good Zarya skin, and then I'm out. I will not ask for any. Well, maybe I'll ask for maybe another Zarya skin, 2 good Zarya skins. I just need something.
So I can switch off.
I mean, the new skin. She actually has a skin this time instead of something like a voice line or something like that. She actually has a skin this time. I don't think it's that bad, but then
It could be better.
it's clearly not the best. Heroes of the Storm clearly has the better skins. So how come
It's
Diva gets a skin if you play Heroes of the Storm, but then Zarya doesn't?
Yeah, Genji and Diva both have skins from Heroes of the Storm, I think.
Yeah, they do. We need some love for my girl Zarya. Come on, she's got pink hair. It's amazing.
No one loves her. No one loves her, and you can tell that by the skins they give her.
Don't remind me.
Bastion has better skins than she
Oh,
does.
don't remind me. But
fucking Bastion. Every skin is almost always just a recolor.
Yeah.
And it's better than Zarya's skins.
So with microtransactions, or continuing along this topic, the publisher Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, Take-Two, they're saying they can do more with microtransactions, and I'm just wondering what exactly
what that entails.
Yeah, what that entails, because based off of their current model with GTA Online, it's kind of like it seems fine. And they're saying, to quote their CEO, Strauss Zelnick, I hope I'm saying his name right, we are convinced that we are probably, from an industry view, under-monetizing on a per-user basis. Which is understandable. You don't want to make too little money based on the amount of players you have, because
right.
It's like you want to run your system. But where can you go from what they currently have? So you've played GTA Online, right?
I've played all those games.
Okay, yeah. So
Red Dead and GTA.
So explain the system to people who don't know. Like I don't know.
GTA Online has a in-game currency, but you can get everything in the game just by playing the game. Mm-hmm. All the in-game currency does is it gives you it lets you buy things in the game with your actual money. And that's pretty much how it works. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that you can earn money. You can either earn money in the game like you normally would, or you can just buy the money yourself, or you can buy pretty much just to buy like any items or vehicles you want in the game. You can use either real money or the money you earn in the game. Mm-hmm. That's basically how the short cards work in GTA.
It's similar to the Overwatch system, where it's like, if you don't want to spend your time on doing something, you can just buy the boxes. But GTA system is a little bit more direct, because you actually do spend it on in-game currency rather than boxes where RNG, you're left up to RNGs to pray that you will actually get what you want, which I think is not a bad model. The thing with Overwatch is that the loot boxes plays on gambling, but with the microtransactions here that Take-Two is doing with GTA Online, it plays.
It's a transfer. It's basically like just like I give you this, you give me that.
Yes, I don't think that's too bad or anything either. It's just, I guess, where can you go from here?
Yeah, that's the thing, because I'm looking at this and it's like, oh, we don't know what we could do maybe more in Red Dead or something. And it's like, well, what are you going to add in Red Dead? Like, here are these postal service coins or something. I don't know what they're going to do with coins. You killed one of the Pony Express boys. Here's a coin or something like that.
Oh God, no.
Did you kill the pony too? That's 2 coins, like something like that. I don't know.
It's difficult to see where they could possibly go from the current system that they have without basically starting to bother players. Because if they start emphasizing microtransactions too much, then players are just going to be like turned off from it and probably not spend any more money, aside from the hardcore base.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with GTA's shark cards. I don't have a problem with how that's working. I don't have a problem with how any of the microtransactions in GTA operate. Mm-hmm. The problem is more along the lines of how invasive it gets and what has to change for your microtransactions to work as a business model. Mm-hmm. Because like for a long time, I was a big fan of this of the game series Payday, particularly
Oh,
Payday 2.
Payday. Oh, Payday.
And you remember Payday?
Yes, Payday 2.
That's one you and I played a lot.
Yes.
And I think with that game, it was like I was bothered by the DLC, but it was basically saying, hey, as long as one person owns it in the group, you can all play. It's like, okay, I guess that's cool. And then when they changed their business model to be like, here's these safes now, and it's basically like the CS:GO safes, but it was for like everything.
I remember that.
For an inventory that was larger than CS:GO's. It wasn't just guns, it was also things for masks. But it was like, do you want this mask? You're gonna have to open your case and find out. Or do you want this gun skin? Things that were given away for free previously. And I think that's a shitty thing to do. That when you have something that's free like that, something that was basically, you could just play the game to get that, and then you try to lock it behind some sort of paywall.
Yes,
That's kind of fucked up to do when you're already charging like $10 per DLC. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the bit, I believe that the Payday 2, I don't know if they still have the crates, to be honest, but I know that Payday 2,
I think they got rid of it.
Payday 2, where it was just DLC. They released a lot of DLC, yes. There's a lot of heisters now. But it
I'm actually
was...
gonna look up how much DLC there is.
There's a lot. I remember David was trying to... He wanted to play Payday 2 again, but when he tried to download it, it was like 50 gigabytes worth of stuff. just DLC and shit. The game's gotten really big. It's gotten...
Apparently right now it's on sale for 80%, 85% for all the DLC. But all the DLC put together is still $30.
What's the original price?
Imagine
it's not on sale for 80%.
I'm trying to do the math in my head.
Oh, it doesn't say on Steam?
It doesn't, because right now it's on the sale right now.
Oh, okay, I see.
So
I thought it said
actually, I think
set
I can go to the
Steam.
bottom.
Yeah, if you go to the bottom, I should say it.
It is not
that
telling me right now.
It's not telling you. Okay.
No.
It's okay, Steam. We still love you.
No, you fill for time, and I will do the calculations in my head.
Jazz hands. You guys can't even see me, so it's pointless. The thing with Payday 2, their original system with all the DLC, and then how if one person had it, everybody can play it. That was fine. They released a lot of DLC. Yeah, that's true, and they like charged $10 per DLC or some kind of price. But you would, if you just wait for a sale, you'll get it eventually on a cheaper price. That's what I did, I think, for a few of the DLCs on Payday 2. I just waited for a sale, and then I got it for a cheaper price. And that's okay. Adding the crates on top of that, though, it didn't need an in-game currency system. It already was making a lot of revenue. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't.
You already had people paying out the ass
for their DLC.
Things.
And plus the things that they were adding, yes, it was purely cosmetic based for some of it. For other things, though, and I think I remember this, for other things, it was game changing. Not that it changes much, because yes, it is a co-op wave-based game, but it still...
It would give you, like, new guns, and it'd give you new, it'd give you, like, new items.
It went into the territory where microtransactions are starting to unlock game-changing mechanics.
Or like,
features.
new skill systems.
Yes. And it's starting to unlock those things, which is where I personally think microtransactions shouldn't go. That should be in the game, released for free or whatever. Base game, all that stuff. It shouldn't be locked away with microtransactions, and it also shouldn't be locked away with DLC if it was originally part of the game. So that's where I had a problem with that system. But I have noticed lately that ever since the popularity of CSGO, and I guess now Overwatch, the idea of like gun skins, maybe not so much Overwatch because that's all purely hero cosmetics, but gun skins are a huge like rising thing now. That kind of like, oh yeah, trick out your weapon, because why not? Rainbow Six Siege has this along with character skins. CSGO obviously, and TF2, when TF2 introduced it, I was just like, okay, this is kind of silly, We already can dress up our characters with hats. We don't really need weapon skins.
Right.
So I think that's also where microtransactions, it's starting to become kind of like, it's a cheap way to get money. Of course, that means that people are actually buying it for the skin, and it, that is down to the consumer. I can't, I'm not gonna say, yeah, don't spend your money on the skin that you want. It's like, I can't control your money usage. But I personally think that's where it's like, it's starting to become like very low effort. Let's just reskin this weapon rather than make it entire cosmetic. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, they're getting a lot of money for a lot of low effort in return, rather than something a little bit more even, such as like a hero cosmetic or a hat cosmetic or whatever. Did you find the price for the DLC?
I did count the price of all the DLC put together.
Okay.
It's about $194.
Ooh, that
without a sale.
Wow. Get it on sale now. Get it on sale.
But it's like with things like that, when I see that, and then the company will say, well, we have to make sure we make enough money while we're developing the next game. And I sit there and I kind of go, don't you have enough? How much do you need exactly for this to work? For all this to work out for you? How much do you need for literally all of this when you already have a $194 about there just from DLC?
Well, that's difficult to say, especially for the larger companies. And it depends on how many teams you have working on different games too. So for example, Blizzard, there's not really that many games that they have out. So if
they have a comparatively small
it's a small library.
Yeah.
And compared to say like Take-Two but
like their library is filled with things like it's filled with things like World of Warcraft and StarCraft and Diablo and Hearthstone and basically things that make them a lot of money because they have that fan base to work off of.
But what I'm trying to say is there's like less allocation of the money to like very broad areas of the company. For example, if you're, say, working for EA and you have a really good game that makes a lot of money, you got to pay the developers and however many people are on that team. Then you got to pay like the ad people. You got to pay the corporate executives. It's the bigger the company, the more people you have working on the game, more teams, all that stuff. It takes away a lot of resources. So we don't really know how much money. Starbreeze? Is it Starbreeze?
I think it's Starbreeze too. Starbreeze is like the publisher, and Overkill is the developer.
Okay. We don't know.
No, hold on.
No, yeah, Overkill is the developer.
505 is the publisher, and Overkill is called a Starbreeze Studio.
Okay. So,
something like that.
Yeah, we don't know how much they're taking home, but $194, $95 a DLC on a regular day. That's a lot of money.
And I remember at the time when the game was released, they said like it was like they had sold. I can't remember. It had been like 2 days, and they had already made their money back because they had spread it. They had spread the game through word of mouth, as opposed to like the big ad campaigns that other companies were doing.
I didn't realize that they already made their money back with that. That's actually pretty nice.
Like that was like in 2 days of the game originally coming out, so I don't know where the rest of this money is going.
That's true. So
that's the thing that bothers me the most.
I guess until I don't think they release public figures for anything like that, but I guess we'll never really know where that money's going. And I can see where that's a little disconcerting for you.
Yeah. By the way, I just had this trailer running in the Payday 2 Steam store thing. I think they're going to make Ron Perlman a member of the gang.
Well, I mean, Keanu Reeves is already a member, so...
if Keanu Reeves is already here, then yeah, let's just add Ron Perlman.
Yeah, this is action star?
Just go all the in. Just go all the way in. It's
just
fine.
what everybody in that one Stallone action movie
I think they're putting it in because he was in Sons of Anarchy, and the video I'm watching is clearly about bikers or something.
Oh, yeah, probably then.
That's probably why.
Big face name. Oh, the guy from Breaking Bad was in one of the DLC too. So yeah, big face names.
Yeah.
Gus Fring, I forgot the name of the actor. He was in the Big Bang Heist, I think. But it was just his voice? I don't think his likeness
I think
was
it
in
was. I think it was just his voice.
Yeah, he just lent his voice to the game. So microtransactions is a little tricky. We'll see where GTA the Take-Two takes GTA Online. See where it goes. I am curious to see where they're gonna take it. And I know Red Dead Redemption 2, they said there's gonna be it's gonna have online features. Whether or not it has microtransactions, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, I guess.
We'll see in 2018 because it got pushed back. But hopefully it's not invasive. I think where microtransactions are the most concerning are with those info apps. Info apps. I'm because you can have apps on Windows 10 now, I think. So I should probably be more specific. The phone apps, like where kids rack up like thousands of dollars just doing stupid shit. I think that's a concerning and more pressing part at the moment. But hopefully games don't go in that direction. Not that you're gonna have kids playing. Well, not that you'll have kids playing, GTA Online or Red Dead Redemption 2 or Overwatch or anything like that. But if it gets to be really intrusive, where they put ads or they like block you, that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
So speaking of things that might be problematic, to say the least, you sent me this video from Jim Sterling, the Jimquisition, on Modern Warfare.
And just to kind of like summarize it really quickly, it was just generally that it was just sort of the way that people do remasters now is it's kind of abusive because like with Modern Warfare, it was not only was it tacked onto Infinite Warfare or Advanced Warfare, whatever they were calling it. Not only was it tacked onto that, but that they were also selling you the DLC that came from the game 9 years ago. And not only that, they were also charging $5 more than they did 9 years ago.
I mean, you can make an argument like, what was it, inflation or whatever. I don't know, some kind of like economic argument for that.
But it's a 10-year-old game.
Yes.
That's the thing that was bothering me.
So
bothering Jim Sterling.
If I recall correctly, they bundled it, but the DLC packs didn't come with it. They were selling it separately for $5 more. Is that right?
That's something that you have to buy. You have to buy those for $15.
Yeah, that
they were $10 9 years ago, and now they're $15.
Yeah, that I can definitely see why that is a very big problem. Why Jim Sterling would even have a problem with that to begin with. It's problematic because you're throwing the base game for free to the consumers, but it's for free.
But you can't.
But you can't $60 game.
But you can't get Call of Duty Remastered without getting Advanced Warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're tied together. You can't have one without the other. Mm-hmm. So you have to buy that $60 game to get the game you actually want.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay another $15 for DLC that you may have had 9 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good business practice and hurts consumers more than, I guess, rewards them, because it's kind of like, yeah, it's nice that Modern Warfare gets a remaster.
I mean, it was a very good game.
It was a good game, yes.
Not only was the multiplayer good, but there was like a coherent single player. That was fun.
That was nice. Fun. So it's kind of like this landmark game and a shift for definitely a shift for the series too. Because after this, all the games were more modern, right?
Like not just a shift for the series, but a shift for the genre. first-person shooters that so many first-person shooter games were like, now we're gonna do like this was basically a thing that determined we're all gonna do Modern Warfare style things now.
So it's like it's a seminal game basically.
Yes.
And so releasing that together with another to a game that, I mean, it will sell well because it has Call of Duty in the title, but probably not as well.
It won't be anything like what you would imagine that like Modern Warfare 1 was. It's fallen pretty far.
Yes, it has fallen very far. And I think that's what the publisher Activision realizes, is that this game that they're putting out, Advanced Warfare, I think, probably is not going to sell that much. But if you attach a game that a lot of people really like and got really nice, favorable things to say, then people are more willing to buy the $60 game and drive up sales just for this game.
All you have to do is take a beloved game, remaster it, then hold it hostage, and people will buy your new game.
Yes.
It's perfect.
Pretty much that when I heard that was what I thought. They're just holding this game hostage and chaining it together with Advanced Warfare, which is probably not going to sell as well as they were expecting, which is why they did it. They probably noticed maybe a drop in sales or something like that. I know I looked it up once, the amount of units sold, and I think, was it Black Ops 2 or one of the more recent ones sold really well. But they're probably noticing some kind of slide downwards, which is probably why they put Modern Warfare Remastered onto Advanced Warfare. But even so, yes, you pay $60 and you get this free extra game. All right, fine, 2 for 1. This is BOGO, basically. Buy one, get one free. Adding the DLC map packs for that remaster game, not adding it, it's suffice to say, is really scummy. It's the best way to describe it. And I just think that they should have just included the whole game rather than have people pay for map packs with an extra $5 compared to the past. Pay for map packs that should have been in
of a 10-year-old game.
Yes.
Selling the same map pack.
Yes. I mean, at this point, they might as well have just released it as a separate game rather than connecting it to.
You would have definitely made your money back if you just made it its own game and then given all the DLC. You would have made your money back, no problem.
Yeah.
I probably would have bought it.
I think you and a lot of people would have bought it. A lot of our friends that we know would have bought it too.
Yeah, but like the way that they're handling it, it's not. It's just kind of slimy.
Yeah, and Activision is kind of like the definition of slimy right now.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not true. EA is pretty up there too.
No, I think Ubisoft might be slimy if you consider like it's more the fall that makes it slimy than more than anything else.
That's a topic for a future podcast.
For that 7-part expose.
7-part expose. That will be publishing sometime soon. Watch out for it, guys. We shit on Ubisoft and get banned from Uplay immediately.
Oh no, not Uplay. What about all my Ubisoft games that I've come to love?
Oh, your 4 Ubisoft games.
Those games.
Like, yeah, that one game. That one game. That's that 15th Tom Clancy game. Yes.
What's that game called? The Subdivision, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. You're pretty close.
I'm fairly close.
the Skeleton Division, basically. I don't know. Lots changed with that game, I heard. So.
Skeleton Recon.
Skeleton Recon. Yeah. So. Kind of shady / scummy move. Should have included the map packs in with the free remaster, or have just sold the remaster on its own. They would have made their money back, guaranteed. I just think it was like they were afraid, and so that's why they linked it together.
Yeah.
But they really should have just sold it as a separate game.
I guess I can see that, but still scummy.
I mean, some people can argue, yeah, selling it as a separate game, scummy. I already paid for this game. But then if it's a complete remaster, textual upgrades, I don't know what else they've remastered. Like,
as a separate game, I'm fine with that. It's just like stapling it and holding a gun to its head, saying, "You want bring $60 and enough space to bring 2 games back home, or you'll never see Call of Duty. You'll never see Call of Duty Modern Warfare again."
I can see where selling it as a separate game is problematic if the remaster was, like, they really didn't put any... It's low effort. They didn't do anything else with it. But apparently it's not. It's actually a decent remaster. I don't know for sure. So you might... Like have you seen footage of it? Like, gameplay in depth?
No, it looks nice. It looks like it'd be something I would play.
So it's not like a complete, like, ground up remaster, or like it's not a complete like HD texture update remaster, right? It looks
good.
It looks
from what I've seen, I can at least say it looks better than it did before. That the graphics looks better and the sounds better. Like those parts of it are improved.
So basically, they put effort, and that's what it comes down to.
Effort was made.
Effort, maximum effort.
I don't know if I can put maximum effort and Activision in the same thought process.
What?
They can be separated by several sentences, and I still go, I'm not sure.
Maximum effort, Ubisoft, never. We could probably make a sentence out of that. Yeah, I think we're both 2 people scorned by Ubisoft.
Yeah.
And that's our 10-part expose coming soon. The number keeps on going higher.
Followed by our 13-point expose on just Assassin's Creed 3.
No, just on Assassin's Creed in general. Just past Assassin's Creed 3.
50 hours on Assassin's Creed 3.
That could be a podcast. That could be a podcast.
Maybe.
We'll
see what happens.
Just the whole podcast is us talking about Assassin's Creed. Oh boy. Alright, I'm going to put my bitter feelings aside for Assassin's Creed. We're going to get into our part of the podcast where we just kind of talk about some games we've been playing, discuss it a little bit, and then after that we would, if we had comments or emails from people to read, but since this is the first one, we have nothing, so we're just going to free talk a little bit, talk about
maybe
E3.
Next time.
So, what game have you been playing? Maybe next time. What game?
Maybe I've been playing Vanquish a lot.
Right, so Vanquish was that one game from Platinum, right?
It's
super slidey.
It's a Platinum game directed by Shinji Mikami.
So, from what I remember from Vanquish and for what I've seen on the Steam store page, you are basically a rock star sliding across the stage, shooting people with weapons.
Well, you're not always doing power slides. Sometimes you're sliding on your ass, and you're shooting things as you slide by.
The ass slide, the most powerful slide of all.
It's like, no, he's using the glutes maneuver. Stop him quickly.
No, not the gluteus maximus. No.
Or like it'll be things like that. You'll do something like a lot of it's like basically like you get like a suit, and the suit lets you like sprint and like move at like a heightened pace, so like bullets slow down around you, and like there's a gauge, like a stamina gauge for that. So like that can charge or fall, and then you get you have like a bunch of weapons that you can use, and pretty much it's just like it is the best melodramatic action anime I've ever played.
Well,
that's what I can say.
You are playing a platinum game.
Yeah, I am. So that would be indicative of what's happening.
Yes, platinum is very unique. To put it
mildly,
but very kindly. They're very unique. I love platinum games. They're great.
But it's like the story's like writing's not great, but it's fun and I enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean that's the thing that I really like about Platinum games is they're fun, and it's kind of like how that company works. They're fun. They're unique games. And yeah, story's not the greatest. Bayonetta 1 was not the greatest story.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. I mean, Bayonetta 2, they try to make it a great story, and the writing was interesting in that. I'm not going to spoil anything for that, but it's definitely the fun factor, and I like that. I like that the company focuses on that.
I'm a big fan of theirs. I mean, I have Nier Automata sitting on my desk right now, so.
But that wasn't by Platinum. That was by a different company, I think.
But
right?
It's like that sort of rhythm of it, and I think if you look at if you go on their website, they list Nier Automata as one of their games.
I don't think so. Wait, maybe. I don't think. Well, I think it was the director.
Yeah, I think so. It was something like that.
So the director was not.
I mean,
the Bayonetta
it's just
director.
I'm looking at their website right now, and it just says Nier Automata. Like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is a Platinum game. Okay, so I take it back. Fun. Still, they still got it.
Yeah, but it's like it's fun. Their games are fun. They can be really stupid, but they're fun.
Stupid fun is sometimes the best.
Sometimes it's all you need.
That's all you need, and I think that's in a time when a lot of games really focus heavy on narrative. It can and less on the gameplay. It can take some of the fun away. I mean, that's not to say I don't appreciate a good narrative. I play a lot of narrative-driven games. I love a good story in game, good cinematics, all that stuff. But you mustn't forget gameplay. It is a game for a reason.
I would consider gameplay to be the most important thing, and everything should come after that.
Yeah, I've seen arguments for that, and I totally get where they're coming from. It's just that sometimes gameplay, if your gameplay is not good, everything else suffers. But then, if you make a series, players want more from the series, and that could be more story and all that stuff. It starts shifting, I guess you can say.
Yeah. Also, the English version has Steve Blum in it.
Steve Blum's in everything, though.
Yes, he's in everything. He's there, is all I'm saying. He is there. Providing his lovable voice.
His one voice. Though, to be fair, he changed it a little bit, I think.
The only voice he needs.
True. The only voice we ever need to hear in anime. Who needs all the other voice actors and actresses? Steve Blum is where it's at.
There should be a version of Cowboy Bebop where every voice is Steve Blum.
God, no. Steve Blum's voice from Faye Valentine. Steve Blum's voice from Ein.
Yeah.
Just bark.
Bark. It's like, oh, hey, Ein.
Bark. Oh, bell peppers and beef again, but without the beef.
Bark.
Why is it called bell peppers and beef?
Rather, borf.
Borf.
I imagine Steve Blum's one of those people. Instead of bark, he would say borf.
I can see that. I think Steve Blum is really good with voice acting in that, he has one voice, but he knows how to act, which is...
Which lends more to that.
Which lends more to his voice acting, and that's probably why he's so popular. Yeah, he has one voice, but he's really good at acting. He also gets cast in really good roles sometimes, too. Really, really important, recognizable roles like Spike or Mugen from Samurai Champloo. So I like Steve Blum as a voice actor. He doesn't have the same range as like Vic Mignogna or I'm trying to think of other voice actor names, but he is good at voice acting. But yeah, so he's in Nier Automata, guys. Go buy it. Not paid. I have.
Go ahead. I was gonna make a dumb joke, but now I've dropped it, so you can go ahead.
You've dropped it. Okay, you dropped it in the trash.
I've dropped the dumb joke. It's gonna stay there forever.
It's in the pit. The pit of despair.
That's where it belongs.
The pit of dungeons. I haven't really been playing much recently because I've been at work, but on stream I've been playing Phoenix Wright. And
yeah, I've been watching
the past few streams. You probably have no idea what's going on. I'm gonna assume.
I have sort of an idea. I think I tweeted something to you maybe half a week ago, and it was something along the lines of, I think I tweeted it from the Pro ZD guy. It was something along the lines of the first, like, it says the first crime is something along the lines of, I'm the murderer and I committed this act of murder, and then the second, like, that's the first case. And the seventh, and like the fifth case will be like, good looking behind my 7 alternate personalities.
Oh God, yeah. Like I saw that and I started laughing so hard. It's accurate. It's really, really accurate with how the Phoenix games progress. The Ace Attorney games are they start kind of slow and then they really pick up. Except for the second game. Fuck that clown case. Like, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but there's a
I can kind of infer what's going on.
We call it Clown Fiesta for a reason, but in the second game there's a case where you will get penalized if you make the clown tell a really bad joke. Like you're cross-examining a clown, so you have to press on the right statements. Or
you
else
monster.
you're screwed. Yes, it was a horrible case.
It's not him, it's you. That's the problem. That you made him tell that joke.
Yeah, that's exactly what they say in order to penalize you.
Yeah.
So it's pretty bad. But in terms of like the writing and stuff, it's really enjoyable, and the logic of the puzzles on some of them is really, really good. Of course, like on stream I struggle sometimes because like I'm like dividing my attention between that and streaming and commentating and whatnot. But when it comes down to it, the puzzles that they have set up are really, really great if you think about it, and how to solve it. And I think that's what makes the game really famous. I know it's like pretty famous in Japan. I don't know if it's a cult hit in Japan, but it is in America. Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people love about it. The puzzles of solving the case, but more importantly, the characters, the cast of characters and the writing, because a lot of the characters are just really fucking wacky. They're insane in one way or another, or they're just crazy, but they're memorable. I still remember the antagonist of the second case in the first game, and I played the first game like months ago. I don't remember all the characters in all the games, but I know the first 2 antagonists you meet in the second case of that game is just, they define everything else.
This is your life now.
This is your life, my life now. I'm a defense attorney, faced with a coffee addicted prosecutor, a prosecutor who is my best friend, and his adopted sister who calls me a foolish fool. 20
Godot
times.
it's just Cyborg after he's lost his job. That's all Godot is. He's just Cyclops after he's lost his job. Like,
but he's got three visors.
Yeah,
so
but it's
implying that
maybe that makes him better then, because it's not hard considering that Cyclops is the worst X-Men by far.
Whoa! Let's not start any fights here.
No, that's true.
Let's not start any fights here.
Even the biggest fan of X-Men would have to say, yeah, Cyclops isn't great.
I don't know. I mean, comic books is a long history, and there were probably some shitty X-Men in there. In the same way, there are shitty Batman villains.
Yeah, I mean, like there's
Batman villains.
There's that Robert Liefeld character. His named Four Arms, and he's got 4 arms. I can't remember. I don't know if he was.
I think I remember that. I don't remember. He might have been drafted.
Either you showed me that, or I showed you that. I can't remember.
Oh, I don't think I showed you that, and I don't think you showed me that. I think we just separately came upon it. I remember a 4-armed guy called 4 Arms, though.
And I was just like, hey, remember 4 Arms? Like, oh yeah, that guy sucks, and then we laugh. That's how that conversation
Pretty
went.
much.
That's all you can say.
I watched the Batman Lego movie over the weekend when I was at my parents' house, and they went through the typical Rogues Gallery: Joker, Poison Ivy, Bane, all that stuff. They're going through the Rogues Gallery, and then they started after a certain point. I think after they listed like Penguin or something like that, they started listing all of the less memorable Batman villains. Condiment Man. I don't remember if Condiment Man was an actual villain, but like Calendar Man and like all these villains that aren't memorable.
Is the greatest villain Batman has ever faced. He has an exact knowledge of the calendar.
Exactly. It's also I actually liked how they approached that in Arkham City. If you visited him at specific dates, he would just
Yes,
like
and
say
he would have
a
something creepy to
rhyme.
say.
Yeah, he was really creepy. I liked how they approached that. And I know the Long Halloween, how they approached Calendar Man, and that was pretty good too. And I think that's where Arkham City draws its inspiration from. But before that, Calendar Man was kind of kind of fucking. He was pretty foolish.
That seems like the sort of villain that Adam West would really pitch. That like we should have the next episode be this, guys.
Yes,
like, okay.
the crazy
Adam.
Batman time.
Okay, Adam.
Yeah. Okay, Adam. Time to go.
Go in the
put
corner
your shark
and do your
repellent
dance.
away. You need to stop puffing that.
Go do your dance in the corner.
Go to your dance in the corner and go punch people and have ka-pow come out on the screen.
Yeah. The last movie I watched that was new was Alien Covenant, but you already know how I feel about that.
Yes,
movie.
I do know how you feel about that. I wouldn't say Lego Batman is like new per se, not like a new release, but it was new for me, and it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. That's another talk though, for a different time if we want to discuss that. I do think that like I don't remember. You said you're a Batman fan, but you don't like the Nolan films. I think is what you said.
Yeah,
is that right?
I'm not a huge fan of Nolan films. Like I respect them, for like their presence.
Mm-hmm.
I respect them for like what they've done for Batman to really keep him in the spotlight and providing a new version of Batman to keep to entertain new fans and old fans alike.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like that Batman. It's specifically that Batman
Yeah.
that I don't like. Like I'm also not a huge fan of Bane, of that version of Bane. I kind of prefer like the Arkham Asylum version.
Terrorist Bane.
It's oh, hello, Batman. It's like, oh, god damn it, here comes Bane. It's like,
Did you eat your strawberries today? They're full of fiber.
Strawberries are fiber. Like that's the greatest thing out of the Nolan Batman movies is the oral not videos on that. But I like the villain. I like Heath Ledger as a Joker.
Well, I think he defined that movie.
Yeah,
it's hard to really top him in terms of like a villain.
Yeah, and then like
he stole the show is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and like the first movie focuses on who was it, Scarecrow?
Yes,
like,
it was Scarecrow.
I'm pretty cool with that. Like that's fine. But like generally with the Nolan Batmans, I'm not a big fan of Christian Bale's performance, and the third movie kind of bores me. But like those are the main things I'd say about that movie.
I appreciate the movies. Dark Knight is definitely the best one out of the three. It saved a flatlining Batman from Schumacher's hands.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it for that. The recent Batmans by what's his name, Ben Affleck.
Yes.
That portrayal. Nah, not so much a fan.
You mean the Punisher Batman?
Yeah, the Punisher Batman. Martha.
The Batisher.
Your mom's name is Martha too. Oh my god! That kind of bullshit. I'm not a big fan of that. But the Lego Batman movie definitely does talk about that and makes fun of it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think you would probably appreciate it as a Batman fan too. Just all the little.
I mean, I'll give it a watch eventually.
It's pretty amusing. I liked it.
I have my hands full with watching Judge Dredd. You know how it is. That's a very loud motorcycle.
Yes, with Judge Dredd. Are you gonna watch the remake after that?
Maybe later, like not right after. I've had enough of Judge Dredd. I'm kind of interested in reading the original comics. Like that's one thing I can get out of rewatching it, but like Judge Dredd as an individual movie is nothing to really like be excited about.
Well, you gotta get through Rob Schneider's performance.
Yeah.
So.
Rob Schneider in Judge Dredd.
Oh,
rated PG-13.
Oh yeah, it's PG-13, isn't it?
I think it is. I can't.
Not a hard R. I know Dredd, the remake, was a hard R, and that was pretty great.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
I
was only doing that bit because that's one of the South Park bits I can actually remember.
Oh man, I haven't watched South Park in a while. The one thing I remember from South Park is that World of Warcraft episode because it was so good.
Yeah.
That episode was amazing. That was years ago. It's like 10 years ago, I think. South Park's old.
Judge Dredd was actually rated R.
Oh, it was rated R.
It was.
Really?
It
didn't seem like it was rated R.
I mean, we're gonna have that moment where there's like these cannibal guys, and there's that one scene where they're just bombing the police station, all that. I don't know. Probably earns an R at some point.
Well,
At some point.
Judge Dredd was during the weird time of comic book adaptations that didn't really work, but they still kept churning it out anyways.
Judge Dredd is from the same era as Arnold as Conan.
Was that the 90s? I thought it was like late 80s.
That was probably the more late 80s, but it's sort of the same era of movies, I feel.
Well, I mean, that's just actiony, schlocky, blockbuster stuff. I think it released around the same time as Tank Girl. That was an adaptation of a comic. That wasn't.
Yes,
very...
I've heard stories. I've heard tales.
What's funny is that Tank Girl. I didn't realize the movie was called Tank Girl until much later when I was watching Nostalgia Critics review on Tank Girl. I had seen Tank Girl when I was younger on one of those kind of like DirecTV channels. My dad had left one of the movie channels on. I don't remember what. And I saw it downstairs and I was like, what is this? I had no idea what it was called, but it had all the...
Why is she treating that tank cannon like a dick?
I remember the comic book transitions, and that's why I remember Tank Girl so well. It's like, yeah, I was younger, and oh wow, this was on TV, and I was 10 or something. I
mean, if anything good came out of watching Judge Dredd, I want to go back and read those comic books, because those seem cool, because they give you glimpses of the comic book at the beginning of the movie. It's like, oh, I should be looking at that.
Yes, the better source material, the better material in general. I think that's what happened with me and Batman is I didn't get into Batman until I watched The Dark Knight, and I was like just really like I really liked that movie. One of my favorite movies from at the time in 2008. So I got into Batman that way. So I think if anything, it introduces you to the source material, which is good, but it's much better if it's a better movie that's introducing you to the source material rather than Judge Dredd.
It sort of helps. If it's not shit, it sort of helps.
Yes, if it's not shit, it sort of helps. That's a stamp it. We're gonna put it on our future podcast. That's our motto.
That's gonna be the motto for both our channels. If it's not shit, it helps.
Put it onto our Assassin's Creed podcast. If it's not shit, it helps. Call of Duty podcast. If it's not shit, it helps. All the other series that have fallen from grace. Sorta.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag. If it's not shit, it helps.
Oh, well, we'll get to that eventually.
I do actually like that game.
So we're gonna talk about E3 for now. You think that there's gonna be an Assassin's Creed this year? People are speculating it since they didn't release anything.
We already know it's coming eventually. That whole Osiris, project whatever, Osiris or something, where it's gonna be in Egypt or something.
Is it really in Egypt? I thought they said, nah, we're not gonna do Egypt.
I don't know. They said there's gonna be naval combat in it, so I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe they'll announce it.
The crutch of naval combat.
Yeah. This will prop up our game, right? Maybe if it was a separate game, you'd be fine. But that was their biggest mistake. They should have just made it a separate game. Let my Assassin's Creed die a peaceful death instead of this prolonged struggle. If you want a game about pirates, make a cool game about pirates. But you don't need to shoehorn assassins at the very beginning and at the very end of the game. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna release. I think they're gonna release some kind of trailer for it. I think Ubisoft's press conference is on Tuesday night or something like that. Ubisoft may do something like that. Bethesda might announce something, like they might tease something, and then the internet will either love it or hate it, because that's what Fallout 4 is. Either you love Fallout 4 or you hate it.
What did they tease last year? A lot of the games they teased last year already came out, like Prey, Dishonored 2, Fallout 4.
Yeah, those all came out.
Those all came out within I think the span of the last year or two.
I know they said around the last E3 they said something along the lines of that they had long-term projects that they were doing. So maybe one of those. maybe
I know
teased.
Quake. They're probably gonna show something of Quake. Or is it Quake? It's Quake, right?
I think it's Quake. I think
Yes. I think it's
because
that.
the only reason I'm remembering that is because Bethesda and QuakeCon have the same deal.
Yeah. I don't quite remember. I'm like thinking of like the list of games from their last press conference, like what has come out and what hasn't come out, and I think
Um,
most of those have come out. Most of their story driven and like big blockbuster titles have come out, and like I think Quake was the only one that hasn't been released.
Microsoft is
Um,
going to drag its face along the asphalt. I can already guarantee that.
okay, predictions. Who's gonna win? We're not counting Nintendo because obviously Nintendo does their own shit. They don't care. Who's
Nintendo's
gonna
in its
win?
own circle.
Yeah, and they have a conference this year compared to last year. Like they have
Yeah.
an actual like Nintendo like show thing. I think on Wednesday, Tuesday morning or something like that. Um, who's gonna win between Microsoft and Sony? Who's gonna have
I'm
the better press conference?
I'm going to say Sony, but it's only because I feel Microsoft has been literally it's paid a guy to drag it along the asphalt on the way to E3. Like about an hour away, they get out of the car, strip down, tie themselves to the bumper with a chain, and say, "Hey, just drive at like the speed limit for the next hour or so," and then that's how they arrive at E3.
You ever see
That
the bottom of an
it's
avatar's foot? Whoop him!
but that's kind of how I feel like this now Microsoft's gonna, because I think they're gonna drop the ball again, and if they don't, they don't.
Like I don't remember the gaffe from last year, but it definitely the past few years Sony has been consistently, well, not
Doing
always,
better.
last year they have been consistently doing better. I remember, was it 2 years ago, whenever Xbox One and PS4, whenever those consoles were releasing that
Oh
year?
yeah, that was awful. That
So
was awful for Xbox. That
Sony's
was
press conference was savage. Like it was so bad. Like how much shitting they were doing on Xbox, especially at the price tag of the PS4.
yeah,
They're like,
um
it's not gonna be $4.99. It's gonna be $3.99 or something like that. Some kind of like cheaper, $100 cheaper price point, and it was like everybody went insane over that. And I could just feel the Microsoft executives just going, "Oh,
we
fuck."
fucked up. I think no, it reminds me of something Yahtzee said around that time that I think it was something along the lines of Microsoft had just like fallen like onto the asphalt face first, and then when it came to for PS4's turn to say what they were gonna do, they said not that, and they won. That's
Yeah,
all they
and
had
like,
to do.
oh yeah, and they
just,
also the the video where they're like, we won't lock your gaming content, and then it was just a video of like I can't remember who it was, one of the Japanese developers. He's just has a physical copy and he shares it with like another person. He's like,
he hands it
"Share
to the other person.
It was just a direct dig at Microsoft. It was amazing. And I remember one of the pictures floating around during that E3 was, I think it was a picture of the Microsoft conference, and then like on the bottom, one of those like subtitle things, the Reigns of Castamere start playing.
Yeah.
So it was just like, the freaking Lannisters send their regards. It was really great. Last year, yeah.
So I guess my prediction's gonna be PlayStation 4 might try to like build on like not just goodwill, but on the successes that they've had in the past few years with the console, and Microsoft may bone up on that book, Console Wars.
I don't know what exactly Microsoft can do to really get the upper hand at the moment, aside from release really, like,
They may do
aside
something
from,
with.
I guess, I don't want to say it, but build hype trains for.
Well, they have
really,
that thing called, I think it's called Scorpio or something. I think
well,
it's
yeah,
a console
but
or something like that.
there's a PS4 Slim coming out, and Sony's probably going to talk about that, and it's kind of expected because there are always new iterations of these consoles coming out. We have like the first gen of this gen, which is, clearly not the greatest, and they want people to buy the newest and latest console and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which is, it's okay, but I don't think that's gonna win Microsoft any points to say, yeah, Scorpio.
I don't have any money to be spending on new consoles, so if they think that's like, I'm gonna be exemplary of that area where I don't see that's helping.
Well, I mean, this is a topic for for another podcast too.
Yeah.
Just like consoles, in general, just how developers of the consoles approach them.
This is all for our 1,000-part podcast program.
1,000-part expose.
A 1,000-part expose
developers.
on not on developers on the podcast.
Yes.
Every time one of us says that's a subject for another day, there's another slew of podcasts that pop up.
Exactly. We're gonna have playlist upon playlist. There's gonna be 300 episodes of just talking about the same shit. So yeah, I don't think Microsoft is gonna win any points with Scorpio. I think what will really help them win E3 is IPs. New IPs.
They need to build their single party
hype trains.
Market.
Yes.
And,
they can market and drive hype trains.
But like since they've like closed a lot of things down, and
they have been.
A few months ago they canceled Scalebound.
That pissed me off. I was so excited for Scalebound.
Yeah.
That looked promising. And it looked like an Xbox exclusive I could get behind and actually use for my Xbox One that I haven't played in a while.
This feels like watching like Sega back around the console wars era, or watching EA when they were cannibalizing all their developers. That's what I feel like I'm watching again.
Yeah, I don't know really what Microsoft is thinking. I think there's going to be another Halo game, Halo 6 or something like that. It's been 2 years since Halo 5, right?
I think one thing they could do is to stop the compatibility with Windows 10. Stop bringing games from Xbox over to Windows 10, because now you're reducing the market for your Xbox.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel complicated on that issue, because it's nice to play games on Windows 10. Like now you can play Halo on Windows 10, and that's lovely. You can play Halo on PC again. It's been years.
But like, if we have a system that you're trying to support, and you take things away from it, if you're taking away first-party support away from your first-party console, you're going to have problems. And that's going to be where the biggest dig is.
That is true, but then first-party, I guess that leads into the question of exclusivity. Is that a good thing for video games?
I mean, I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing for consoles, but not the market as a whole, I think.
Yes. And also a topic for another day.
Yeah. Bam! Another podcast.
Bam! Another podcast. Look at all these ideas. It's only first podcast.
And look what we all have to look forward to. This 5,000 podcasts that we've planned in the span of like 2 hours.
Look forward to this, because we'll be podcasting until the world ends.
Which should be soon.
Fallout style. Get to a bunker soon.
Yeah, drop my phone. Sorry
yes,
about that.
I heard that. It was very loud.
I'm sorry. I'll get rid of it later.
Get rid of your phone. Chuck it into the ocean now.
No, I'll get rid of the sound.
You gotta drive. Now they won't know what you're talking about, though.
I'll smother the sound. It's okay.
You smother the sound. Just put it under your pillow.
I'll put like a very. I'll let it like stay very quiet. But it'll still be there, and people go, "Oh, that's what she's talking about." And then they'll hear nothing because I've killed my phone.
You've killed your phone.
Yeah.
Shh. Only dreams.
Shh, only charging now.
Only charging now. Shh. Let's see. EA. I know EA, Ubisoft, Microsoft, Sony, Bethesda. I'm trying to think of the other conferences. Nintendo. I don't think Activision has its own conference. Is that right? Or panel, or whatever it's called.
I'm not entirely sure. I think at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they consider Infinity Ward, or whoever does.
It's not Infinity Ward anymore. Okay. It's Respawn.
Whoever does Call of Duty now, I assume that's what they think their guy is. I
think it's Sledgehammer. I think Sledgehammer Studios does Call of Duty now. I think Respawn's just dead. I don't know what it's doing now. Oh, Titanfall? No. Wait, hold on. I don't know. I don't know the politics.
Titanfall's EA.
Titanfall's EA.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember the developers. I think that's Respawn. I think Infinity Ward is dead is what we're trying to say.
Yeah. But I know Blizzard has BlizzCon, so they don't need to do anything in E3. I don't think.
No,
So
they're not gonna do anything.
So whatever Activision is doing,
I always say
they're
every
probably
year.
letting the developer handle it, whatever it is.
Yeah, I always say every year that if Valve just suddenly showed up, I think there's like a PC press panel or something on Monday morning. If Valve suddenly showed up and was like, Half-Life 3, that would win E3 immediately.
All they
like
have to do is send out Gaben onto the stage.
Yeah, just send Gaben and he says three words, Half-Life 3.
No, not
that
even
will win
that.
E3 immediately.
He
No
holds
questions
up,
asked.
He holds up a crowbar and then a portal gun, and then in both hands he has only 3 fingers, and that's supposed to be Left 4 Dead 3. Then that would be, the internet would explode.
The internet would just, it would
Everything
turn into a singularity at this point.
Everything would shut down.
Everything, all the news outlets would just be like, oh my god, 3 games, the 3 is coming, the 3 is coming. We thought we never would see this day that he would count to 3. Like, that is, if that happens.
Then some guy on the corner's like, hey, isn't there a forest fire going off? Shut up, Todd. You don't see what's important about this, Todd.
Oh god, no, don't go after Todd from Bethesda.
No, Todd the newscaster.
Todd the newscaster? Oh, okay.
Todd, you always like
to
play Call of Duty, didn't you? You don't love Half-Life 3.
I don't know. My version of that is Shane. Shut up, Shane.
Shut up, Shane. Todd Shane.
Todd Shane. That's his full name, Todd Shane. Shut up, Todd Shane.
Shaneson. Get out of here.
Todd Shaneson.
You go cover the weather
yeah.
we need you.
Oh god. Hey, they try, okay? Those meteorologists really try. The weather's just fickle.
Meteorologist is one of those titles where the title sounds better than what you normally see on television.
Yeah, that's true. It's a lot of personality.
I want to see a meteorologist call down meteors, like some sort of wizard.
This isn't The Sims.
That's all I want.
This isn't SimCity. But I'm hoping, every year I hope that Valve would just come out and say 3, and that would explode the internet. I
just want them to say something.
Yeah, they've been really quiet for a while. Dota 2 came out, was it 2014?
Yeah, and then
They've been quiet for a while.
I think they own, or at least they support in part Rocket League. I think.
I don't think so. I think Rocket League is a separate thing. But 3. This year you can do it, Val. Gaben, just say 3. Let the internet explode.
To be fair,
I want the internet to explode.
Like, to be fair, I think that like part of the reason, but I can only put it as so far as like 2010 when they made Source Engine 2 and they were showing it off. And
Was that 2010? I thought it was earlier than that.
Maybe.
Because TF2
came
out.
I think 2010 is probably
9?
like the maximum, like the minimum age. It was at latest 2010 when they were talking about Valve in like Source Engine 2. So it's like, okay, I guess that would kind of delay something being launched, but I don't know what they're doing. Maybe
nobody knows what they're doing.
I think
people
at this point
there have been quote-unquote leaks. We don't know if they're legit or not. I think Gabe was like, okay, you can believe whatever. He kind of just casually shrugged it off in an interview.
I think at this point, pretty much, if Half-Life 3 came out, I'd be like, alright, cool. Like, I think it's died down now for me to the point that I would not be, like, maybe like 5 years ago, I would have been really excited. But now I'm like, alright, that sounds cool.
I don't know. I feel like
no,
if
not
if
everyone's
they
gonna react
announced
that
it,
way. People are going to
but I feel like there's enough of a hype train still there. Definitely, if the fan base is still there, that if he just said Half-Life 3, they would just be like losing their shit over it.
I'm sure it's like that. I'm sure it'd be more than anything Duke Nukem Forever ever got when it was first announced. We finally have Duke Nukem, baby. It's like, oh, what's it like? It's like, maybe you should buy it. And it's like, okay, cool, I trust you, Duke. And they shouldn't have trusted Duke.
Yeah, you shouldn't trust a game that came out about 20 years after its fucking prime.
No, there's something slightly fishy.
Yeah. Did I ever show you the picture of I went to a Fry's, I think, in Vegas, and they just had a whole box of Duke Nukem.
Oh no! You showed me.
Yeah, it's I'll send you the picture so you can like show it in the video if you want over whatever we're putting as the backing video for this video. But it might, I don't know if we're gonna put gameplay video. It's like already 2 hours, so it might just be audio. Be a picture. But yeah, I can also put it on Imager. I think that's what it's called. Imager, yeah. So you guys can see this fucking box crate full of Duke Nukem, like the worst present you can give a kid. It's not even appropriate for a kid. I like
No, but you give it to the kid anyway. It's like, what's this? And it's like, oh,
a shitty game.
It's a coaster, Timmy. It's a coaster.
It's like, yeah, this one's the coaster. Like, you gotta bury it in the desert like the fucking ET cartridges. It's so worthless. We talk about Microsoft, Sony. I don't know what Sony's gonna do, but they have a better chance at beating Microsoft this year, only because it's Sony and not Microsoft. Yeah. Nintendo, I think, is gonna talk more about the Switch and probably a few other games. They're probably gonna announce a few big games at their conference. Something to really generate hype, because right now I don't really know any other games coming out for the Switch that are very hype-able. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Aside from Splatoon 2, that's coming out in summer though. I think they're gonna announce games that are coming out either late this year or next year. So looking forward to that, seeing what they're gonna say. I think they're also gonna talk a little bit about their new 3DS, or is it 2DS? They're gonna talk about that. Probably some specific 3DS games that might be coming out. Probably a new Pokemon game, I think, at this point. I can see that. Maybe not like a main Pokemon game, but a spin-off.
I think there's a mobile Pokemon game coming out.
Yes, I think you sent me an article on that, but we didn't have time to talk about it today.
No.
We can probably talk about it next time.
Yeah, we'll see.
So yeah, I don't know about Bethesda. They're probably gonna talk about Quake. Hopefully they'll talk about maybe a new IP. I'd be excited to see some new IPs this year from E3, because that's the thing I've noticed in the past few years, aside from indie developers and the developers saying, yeah, we'll support indie people. There aren't a lot of new IPs, just a lot of, yeah, this is an established series and we're gonna, here you go, hype it, put it on the hype train. Ubisoft does that a lot. Like 3/4 of its conference is just.
Yeah. I feel like that was the entirety of For Honor as a concept.
Yes, For Honor was basically the only IP they've had in the past.
It's like, this is gonna help us.
2 years.
And it's like, damn it. That's how it ended.
Yeah, do people still play For Honor? I don't know.
I know some people do, but I played it free twice for like betas and a free weekend, and both times it's like, yeah, this isn't worth $60.
Yeah, it's probably dropped in price. I think that's the thing, and that's why a lot of companies are so hesitant to do new IPs. They just don't want to take that risk. They don't want to take the risk, because it is lost money if it doesn't sell well. If it does, then it's like, fine, okay, we'll continue with this, or we'll put it into a new game. But I think that's the unfortunate part, that a lot of these companies aren't willing to take risks on new IPs, and you have to turn to indie developers in order to look for new, fresh things and new ideas, or a developer like, a weird developer, like Japanese developers or something like that. I'm not saying Japanese developers are weird, but like a weird developer. No. I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm like a weird one, like Platinum. Do
you think Yakuza's weird game series?
No,
it is. It's
You're gonna have to bleep that out. How dare you use my real name? You're gonna put a robotic AssassinGlasgow.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna
do. I'm not saying Japanese developers are weird. They have different cultural quirks, and that translates into their games, and that's fine. I enjoy that. I'm saying like the weird, eccentric ones, like Platinum games.
To be fair, I think if you haven't seen anything from Yakuza 0, that's a very strange game overall, because I can make a chicken one of my one of my
chicken.
one
of your what?
He's one of my real estate managers.
A chicken.
Yes.
Like an actual like bok chicken.
Yes, like a bok chicken.
That's amazing.
I won him by bowling.
You won.
I bowled a
That's
turkey, and then they said, "Here's your turkey." It's like, "That's a chicken." They go, "Oh, you're right. Should we kill your chicken?" And then Kiryu like stares into the chicken's soul, and he's like, "No, I will keep this chicken."
Now he's your real.
And then he goes home, and he's like, "You are now the owner. You're now the manager of the entertainment district, chicken."
That's pretty amazing.
It's something like that.
But yeah, Japanese developers are more. They're gonna be. I think they're gonna be more willing to take the risk for new IPs.
I think that's something that's gonna happen more. Yeah, it's probably gonna happen more as time goes on.
So we might have to turn to Japan in order to see new IPs, or maybe even like places that aren't very well known, that like European companies. We might have to turn to them to see new stuff, new games, rather than the same.
Well, I think
games over and over again.
CD Projekt Red's making
European stuff except Ubisoft. I mean, Ubisoft is an international company now, but I mean they're French, based in France. I think like their headquarters or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying everybody except Ubisoft, like the big ones.
The Polish
We're gonna
company.
have to turn to them to see where the new stuff is from.
That Polish company, CD Projekt Red. I think they're making a new game. That's gonna be. I think it's called Cyberpunk 2070 or 2077.
Oh.
I think that's what it's called.
Add those years.
Yeah.
Makes it a memorable title.
That's
Metro 2033.
Yeah, that's all you do. Just make a generic sci-fi term and then put some numbers after it. It's gonna be memorable.
Perfect. Memorable. Yes. Yeah. So we might have to look towards Europe and Japan for our new IPs, because I don't know if the companies in America are willing to take risks with the new IPs, only because like lost money when they could just throw in the 20th Call of Duty game or some kind of like cash cow game, cash cow series, the 20th game into that series. So it's difficult to say. We'll see at E3. I have my E3 bingo card ready. Gonna be sure. Hopefully we can get bingo this year.
We'll
see. I gotta hunt down the E3 2017 bingo card and print it out and just cross it out as I watch the panels or hear the news. And then probably come back and discuss that. I think that's probably gonna be our next podcast. Discuss that and any other news that breaks for the next week or so. I don't know when we're recording next.
We'll see. I'm probably gonna try to get this done in like maybe a couple of days. I already have all the things ready for the next episode for Two Patricks. I just had to edit that around, and that'll be it. I'm not doing one of the. I used to do like these smaller videos where there'd be like a quick version, but that became too much time for too little return. So I'm gonna stop doing those. So I'll have more time to do. I'll probably spend like Sunday work. My next work starts on Monday, I think. So I'll probably have time to do it. I should probably have it done maybe by like Wednesday. We'll have to see. When I'll have it done by
this podcast.
Podcast.
Two Patricks? I'm a little confused.
No, I'm gonna probably be done with Two Patricks tomorrow, and then I'm probably gonna be done with this by at most Wednesday, I think.
At most. Hopefully we can get it out before E3.
I mean, we'll see.
Before E3 ends or begins or whatever it's.
It will be done before E3 ends. That I can definitely guarantee.
Fingers crossed before E3 ends. So, I mean, whatever we say here might be old news by the time you guys hear this.
Yeah, this may come out. This may come out in 2 years. Who knows?
In 2 years, obviously, and all our shit. Watch Assassin's Creed become the dominant series in the world, replacing Call of Duty, selling international.
And then we get imprisoned.
Millions of copies.
We get imprisoned for talking shit about Assassin's Creed.
Shit.
Because now it's
1984
Assassin's Creed has replaced all Western government.
Oh,
that's the reality we're gonna live in. That is a
fall from grace. That's a fall from grace I prefer to not think about.
That's our future. That's all we have.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we'll see. I'll talk to you about next time we can record this, and hopefully this will be out before E3 ends. And discretionary disclaimer, whatever we say here, we said it before E3, so things probably will have changed by then.
We'll see.
Fingers crossed, Half-Life 3 gets announced. Some 3 gets announced.
Something
from
3
Valve.
gets announced
Fingers
by
crossed.
anybody. We'll see.
By any, not by fucking Call of Duty.
Let anybody say 3, and then we will twist it to mean Half-Life 3.
Exactly. That's how all comments for Half-Life 3 end up nowadays.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so I think that's going to be the end of our podcast. So this is the Roundtable. Thank you for joining us on our very first podcast.
Well, I thought we were calling it the Square
Assassin.
Table.
Oh, SquareTable. Shit, I messed it up. SquareTable. Welcome to SquareTable, and goodbye from SquareTable.
Bye-bye.
I totally didn't fuck it up. I'm AssassinGlasgow. This is Zach.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
What half-hearted bye? Say more enthusiasm.
Bye-bye.
There we go.
Is that good?
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yes, it was good.